All right, I am doing this again. Full transparency, I tried to record this video earlier, but at first I couldn't get my thoughts together around this as quickly as I would have liked. You would think after being on the sabbatical for 7.5 months, it would be crystal clear as to why I'm doing it, but it's not that simple to express, mostly because it's a feeling. And so I lost light and I was hungry and I went for dinner and so it's even later now. But I've been out and about. I went to church today. Today is my 4th Sunday in Bali, and I did not know until yesterday that there's a Hillsong church here in Bali. I was speaking with the local yesterday and he mentioned church and I was like, where? And so it was really nice to go to church after a little while. I want to talk about why and how I came to the decision to take a year-long sabbatical. And yes, okay. So it is, I'll say the seed for the whole process of the whole idea, I believe, was planted for me in early 2024 when I went to Malta. I met a friend traveling in Malta, and she was in Malta from France to learn English. And that, I believe, is when a light bulb went off in my head that, ooh, people do this. And that's why I travel, because that's one of the reasons I travel, for so many reasons, but I like that it reminds me of, it gives me ideas or inspires me. And so this young lady, this new friend, was there for 3 to 6 months to learn English, and she had taken time off work. And maybe that in my subconscious was planted there, but that's just one of the things that, going back, I think maybe. But towards the end of 2024, I began to strongly feel like my time at my job, or my role, my job, was about done. I typically know in my career when it's time for a change, when I want a new challenge, when my time there is done. It's a feeling, it's an itch, it's a knowing, it's conviction. Like, I typically know, and I've learned to trust that in my career every time it comes up. So there was that feeling, and there was also, if I'm being totally honest, there was also the fact that I didn't really want to be the direction that the organization was going. I wasn't really wanting to be there anymore. So it was two things, the dynamics, a whole lot of things, as well as I felt like I had learned a lot, or learned enough in that role that I was, or in that place that I was ready for a change. And so one of my New Year goals for 2025, I remember, was to find a new job. So that's how I started the year. Sabbatical not on my mind, but then I decided that I was going to start applying for new jobs after a trip that I had in early February last year. And so when I came back from that trip, recruiters were coincidentally messaging me to reach out for jobs, and I was thinking, okay, this is when I should start applying. That is the natural next thing to do. You feel like you want a new job, you want to do something differently, you start to apply for a new job. The best time to look for a job is when you have a job. We know this. But I had a little bit of hesitation about that, which I've never had. I do the thing. I'll be able to apply, move on. I'm usually, but this time, again, I believe it was just a feeling. I felt this pull to just create space in my life or in my year, and the idea came to me, hey, what if you didn't look for a new job? What if you took time out to rest, to explore, to do other things outside of work, to learn things, to just not work? And that was a wild thought for me. It was exciting in some ways, of course, because I love to travel. I could think of a million things I could fill the time with. But I didn't know anyone who had done it before. It was a little bit of a wild card idea, like, where's this coming from and how do I explore this and who does something like this? And so I remember the first time I told someone about it. It was my sister at her house. I was visiting one evening, as I do, and I blurted it out to her at some point, and she's always very, very supportive of my adventure things. And I remember her being supportive again, and she maybe only asked about, hey, if you can afford it, or something about finances, like even if you can afford it, why not, or something like that. And just getting it out of my mouth, saying the words, getting it out of my head, for me was so powerful to be like, okay, this is a real thing I'm actually considering. And so of course I took a look to see what would it look like to do it, and I realized I could do it financially, and I was out of excuses. I was very quickly running out of excuses as to why I wouldn't do it. And so I thought about it. When you lose people, when you experience losses, you begin to see life as a gift. Life as you remember, or you're reminded that life is short, life is precious, and you want to make life count as much as possible. And all the things that I was wanting to do, and all these desires, I was finding myself in a place where I was healthy. I am healthy, and thank God, I'm healthy. I have the desire to travel. I can do it. Instead of waiting for a tomorrow that I may or may not have, I felt like, and when I say tomorrow, I literally mean the next day, but I also mean like a retirement, a later. That's putting my head down to wait for some day that I may not be healthy for, or I may not have. Very, very dark thoughts. But honestly, it just made sense for me to go. It was a feeling of, I knew I would have a feeling of regret if I didn't take the steps to do this. I felt a strong pull to create space in my life for a year, and what on earth I was creating space for, I couldn't really tell. And I forgot to mention, I actually quit my job to go on this sabbatical. And so that is the faith part of all of this, because I have no idea what's going to be next, but I've not regretted making this decision since the very, very first day I quit my job. It's been 7.5 months now, and every day I know that I'm in the right place for me right now. I know that I'm on the right path. So not having anyone that I knew that has done it before was a little strange, but I'm also so brave. I am stubborn, I think is a better, I'm a little stubborn. I'm curious about the world, curious, okay, what would happen? Let's find out what is on the other side of the world, like I am now. I always wondered. What is, I'm adventurous. I love life. I want to experience. I want to go. And all of that, the moment I realized that I had the desire to do this and I could do this, I knew that I had to. I think another big thing is my relationship with rest. I've had a very like complex relationship with rest actually since I was a kid. In journaling, I came to realize, or like remember, I used to be called lazy as a kid. And I'm not lazy. I've never been lazy. And I think what they meant in saying that was because I wasn't the, I don't know how to say this, like I didn't have the responsibility of being like a first daughter or a firstborn child. Maybe there was some way about my other siblings. I just wanted to be a kid. I wanted to sleep in. I wanted to just be a kid. It was not laziness, but they said I was lazy. And so for me, rest became associated with being lazy. And so that was ever since I was a kid. And I remember it being reinforced or being heightened when I was doing my CPA years ago now, and I was working full-time and taking my CPA classes part-time, but felt like full-time. It was all my evenings, all my weekends. Very justifiable, because that's what you do. You get into it, you grind. But even after that was finally done, I never really found how to rest. I'm still struggling, even 7.5 months in. I'm still struggling to not feel guilt about the rest that I'm taking, and to get off the to-do list and the need to produce, the need to be productive, the identity thing too is a big one, right? We are always, one of the first questions we're asked is, what do you do for a living? What do you do for work? So people can put us in a box, so people can neatly wrap us into, okay, this is who you are, typecast. When people ask, how are you doing? You hear people say, I'm busy. It's now the norm to say I'm busy. That's an answer. It's identity. It's what you do. You work. Sleep is for the weak. You grind. So it was just so unheard of. Like, where is this coming from? And even though it was unheard of, I like to chart my own course. I like to do something different. And I'm not saying no one has ever done a sabbatical. There's people online, I've searched for them, I've seen some people. What I'm trying to say is just people in my own life that I know. I didn't know anyone in my circle. And that's why I'm making videos, to be someone you know in your circle. If you're ever exploring some rest, something different, something that's not the typical, it'll be nice to talk about it. I'm here. And so I think that is the main gist of how I came to this place of taking a sabbatical. Yeah, that would be it for today. My name is Name. In case you don't know me, I'm Name, and I'm making videos every day for the rest of January. And so I'll see you tomorrow.